Hi, yoga teachers. It's Aneta here, Aneta Itchak. Hope you are having a really good day. And today I wanted to share another mini training with you. Today's training is focused on becoming an embodied leader as a yoga teacher. And what the heck does that mean? I have many conversations with yoga teachers about showing up in a certain kind of way, about stepping up and sharing their passion, sharing their knowledge, sharing their understanding. And, we are coming to the end of the current cohort of 80-hour trauma-informed yoga and embodied resilience teacher training and mentoring. And this is the 6th cohort that I'm running. And so in every cohort, we had this conversation. What does it mean now that, we learned about trauma-informed approach. We learned about embodied resilience, so somatic meditation and movement, and the practice called focusing, which is embodied listening, working with felt senses and parts in the body. Now we're moving into more of that social impact, making social impact. The final assignment for the training is to create your own course that is trauma-informed. And so really when I have those conversations with yoga teachers and therapists, and when I use the word leader, there is very clearly visceral reaction, embodied body reaction that is happening to them, to most of them. It's that word, a leader. The examples that we have of how to be a leader in our world over especially over the last few years, it's not a great example. So the word, for many of us, when we think about the word the leader, we think about, leaderships of our governments, people who are making decisions about our lives, about the life of everybody in this country, and about the future of the world. And these are not that great examples, let's be honest. And so when I think about becoming an embodied leader, I think about 3 different things. And I'm going to name them in specific order, but they do not come in a specific order. All 3 of those parts need to be present. So number 1 is about me as a teacher. Who do I need to become? If I'm going to become an embodied leader, who do I need to become? Number 2 is about who do I lead? So if I am a leader, who do I lead? How do I do that? And, who do I love working with? Who are the people that really I want to lead? And number 3 is, around what social impact do I want to make? And this is very much about, practicalities about how I work, my business model, and how I engage with those people that I really want to lead. So let's start from the beginning. So number 1, who do I need to become? This is a question around, first of all, needing to accept leadership role. You might not feel like a leader, but you are a yoga teacher. You talk about physical well-being. You talk about mental well-being. You talk about healthy lifestyle. You talk about taking care of yourself. You talk about work-life balance, whatever it is that you talk about. You might be talking also about managing pain. You might be talking about being creative. You might be talking about so many different things. And the word teacher implies that you don't only talk about it, but you also teach others the skills to manage different states and to go further in their understanding and in the way that they're doing something. So you might be talking about using the power of breath to regulate your mood for better quality of sleep, or maybe to even be a better parent. So in the eyes of those that you work with and that you teach, you already are seen as a leader. And for me, when I think about it, this is a mistake if you don't consciously, mindfully, and compassionately embrace that word or embrace that role. If you just think, oh, I am just a yoga teacher, that can come from really not understanding your role. Because those that come to your classes, to your workshops, to your retreats, to your trainings, to your courses, working one-to-one with you, they already see you as somebody that is further ahead on this journey towards well-being than they are. So in practical terms, you are leading them towards greater well-being through the way that you work with them. And therefore, that makes you a leader. There is something so very profound about acknowledging this is the role that I am doing, and I am fully embracing it with the wonderful stuff and with the challenges that come with it. There is a saying that you can only change what you fully acknowledge. If you don't acknowledge something, you cannot change it because you're denying or rejecting it, or you're pretending it's not there. The empowerment comes from witnessing and acknowledging something, witnessing and acknowledging yourself, witnessing and acknowledging your students. The definition, one of the definitions of trauma is trauma happens when our experience is unwitnessed and unacknowledged. It all starts from witnessing and acknowledging with compassion and kindness, with curiosity, with openness. And being a leader is a challenging thing. It means that you are showing up in a certain kind of way. It might bring up all sorts of different fears for you, like I will be judged. I will be told that I'm wrong. I might make mistakes. People might disagree with me. But I think having those questions, questioning yourself, this personal, the personal process of really reflecting of how am I doing and who do I want to become, is where the wisdom is where the healing is. One of the questions that can really help is, what qualities do I need to embody in order to be this leader that I want to be, in order to lead people, teach people. By lead, I mean teach people, work with people that I want to work with. And in order to make the social impact that I want to make. And when I say social impact, it's about, I feel so passionate about this thing, making positive impacts in this thing, that I am willing to show up. I am willing to do those things. I am willing to risk being judged, being criticized, maybe not liked. I am willing to do that because I so passionately believe in this thing. So the first thing, and it always starts with you, who do I need to become? What qualities do I need to embody in order to do my work in a heartful way, in a soulful way, in a way that, feels aligned and feels right, and in a way that it takes care of me as well. So we don't want to, you've heard me say that before, if you watch any of my videos, you know, burnout, yoga teacher, yoga therapist burnout is very high, especially yoga teacher burnout. You know, holistic practitioners, coaches hit burnout. Frontline workers definitely hit burnout. I experienced it myself, and I've seen so many others that experience that in social care and social work. So who do you need to become? Just that one question can make a huge difference. If you sit with it, if you meditate on it, if you journal on it, if you reflect on it, it then comes from that space of integrity, which is very different to what I was talking about earlier, watching leaders behaving without integrity, with lots of lies, with lots of confusion, with lots of manipulation. So who do you need to become? And that really links with the other two. You know, who do I want to lead? Who do I really love working with? Yes, as a yoga teacher, you could work with anybody because the practices are amazing. You know, it's like there are so many different tools, so many different practices that you could help so many different people. But there will be certain groups of people facing certain challenges that you might be more drawn to. So for example, I've worked with children and I've worked with children and I've worked with parents, but this is not my area of expertise. I've worked more with teenagers and with adults and with yoga teachers and frontline workers. And that's more what I feel really passionate about. And in my work, I know that when I work with those client groups, with those students, it then cascades into children as well. But there are other yoga teachers that absolutely love working with pregnant women, with women with babies, with families with babies. Who do you really love to work with? Who do you feel so passionate about to work with? And this is really important because when we can help anybody as a yoga teacher, but when you focus on how to work specific groups, then you become really good at that. That's your experience. It comes from this knowing, this passion. It's really wanting to support certain groups of people and knowing that you can help anybody, but those specific groups is where your heart is. It's where your passion is. And that links with the third thing, which is what social impact do you want to make? What's really important for you? What changes you think need to happen in your community, in your country, in the world? What are the things that, this is, and that links with the group of people that you really want to work with. What are the kind of things that this group of people, they need? And how you can support them. So one of the things, for example, for me, when I think about it, about all those three things, was that I have got, 16 years of experience of working in social care. And, I trained initially in substance misuse and mental health 20 years ago. And then I've worked in various services. I've done loads of training. And, I've worked in community services. I've worked in an amazing service called City Roads Crisis Intervention Centre for 6 years in central London, Crisis Detox Centre, residential detox centre for chaotic drug users, long-term chaotic drug users. I've also worked in a community alongside of social services and supported projects like Troubled Families Agenda and setting projects across the whole of Kent, working with families who are experiencing child protection problems. And so that was one of the things that's my experience. And alongside of working in social care, I've done loads of different therapeutic trainings and therapeutic approaches, from person-centered to NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, to coaching, to Gestalt coaching, to a lot of safeguarding, all of that kind of stuff. You can get it, that I really love doing trainings. And then I did mindfulness, yoga, and meditation teacher training 12 years ago. And so all of those things came together with me understanding that, especially when the pandemic hit, that a lot of yoga teachers will need different set of skills, different set of tools, because of the impact of the pandemic. And I realized that I have got those skills, that I know how to work with trauma. I've got 20 years experience of doing it with thousands of individuals, and with many families. I have got experience, 20 years almost of experience of mentoring, training, and then supervising other people, working with people who have had trauma. And I have got experience of teaching yoga and mindfulness in various different settings. And so bringing all of those together is, what I feel so passionate about. And then there was the question of, I have got those skills. I have got that experience. I feel so passionate about supporting yoga teachers in working in that kind of way. I mean, I've had so much training and so much experience that I can share that I know others don't have. But then there was that last thing: who do I need it to become? And I needed to face my doubts, and I needed to face my fears, whether I can do that, even though I have so much experience and training. I had to work with my inner critic, pointing out that there are much more experienced people out there. I had to work with this part of me that was doubting that I could do it, sometimes called sometimes it's called the imposter syndrome. I don't particularly like that name, imposter syndrome, but many of us are familiar with it. It's all about doubting that I'm able to do that. And so I had to go through a process of really embracing everything that I am, the opportunities and the challenges and the possible difficulties of being able to do what I'm doing now and supporting others. And so that process of growth, that process of change, it's not always easy, but it is so worth it. There is a lot of people talking about living in alignment, doing what you love. And the one of my favorite ones is like, well, it's not work, I love doing it. That's not my experience. My experience is that there is work, there is doubt, there are challenges, but life that is worth living, that is worth engaging in, the richness of life comes from all of that, from the opportunities and joy and laughter, and from the challenges. And so as we're coming to the end of this mini training, I'd like to invite you to really take a bit of time to reflect on it. Reflect on your own path as an embodied leader. Reflect on your path as somebody who cares, and somebody who's got skills, and somebody that has got so much wisdom of this tradition of yoga, that our community so desperately need right now. And as somebody who can benefit others, who can work, for the benefit of all, including taking care of ourselves. And when I say, the social impact, creating, and this is a very practical thing, creating a business model or the way of working that is right for you. It doesn't mean doing lots of Facebook Lives. It doesn't mean being really active on social media. It doesn't mean always running retreats. It doesn't always mean working with communities that definitely have experienced loads of trauma. But if you are working as a yoga teacher, you are already making a social impact. You are already taking care of others. You are already leading others, and others, your students and your clients, and maybe other people in your community are looking up to you. So when we embrace it, and when we really acknowledge it, when we allow ourselves to be with it, we can create something that is very soulful and very aligned for what we really care about. So I hope that makes sense. I'd love to hear what you think. And I'd love to know any of the insights that you might have had from listening to it. And as always, I wish you a good day. Take care.